What would happen if Master Chief was sent into combat with nothing but a skull and some malfunctioning shields that only regenerated when he punched enemies? Well, in this video, I explored just that. I decided to go into the mission Crow's Nest in Halo 3 and see if I could complete it on Heroic using nothing but the Black Eye Skull as a weapon. And well, parts got interesting to say the least. Before we hop into the run though, I do want to explain the rules of it to make it clear to everyone, and also let you know that if you want to verify that I followed these rules, I'm going to stick a link to the Twitch VOD in the description where you can watch me do things like this live. For the most part, the challenge is pretty self-explanatory. I set the difficulty to Heroic, and the goal was to use nothing but the Black Eye Skull as a weapon. So this means no nades, no equipment, and obviously no guns. With that out of the way, let's just jump right in. The first thing that I had to do was grab the skull. It's been a long time since I collected the skulls in Halo 3, so I had to look up exactly where the skull on this one was, but the Black Eye Skull is really easy to get to if you know where you're going, so after stumbling a little bit because my movement is poop, I jumped up there and I grabbed it and we were ready to go. The first task from there was to neutralize some enemies in the hangar, so we headed on over. On the way over, we ran into our first enemies, where I learned that the Marines actually put in some work if you allow them to. This here though was where I died for the first time, so I barely got into the mission before dying. Here is also where I learned that if you get shot at all after meleeing while your shields are regenerating, they won't regenerate all the way, which can make it very tricky as you have to try and get punches in without taking any damage if you want your shields to fully regenerate. Moving through the corridor a bit, we ran to our first brute, but we took him down no problem and cleaned up the grunts around him. We continued onto the hangar where nothing too special happened, and then once we got to the hangar we had to take out multiple waves of enemies, but due to the setup of this room it was actually pretty easy to bob and weave behind the cover, and the ability to drop into the floor was a big help here. So you could say so far that this challenge was going pretty well. I thought maybe this was going to be pretty easy and we'd get through it pretty fast. We then headed back to the Ops Center, and here is where you run into a section where you have to fight a bunch of the buggers, which are those stupid flying enemies that have plasma pistols. This was a part I remember from when I was a kid and I played the Halo 3 campaign a lot, and I thought that this section was actually going to be really hard because obviously the enemies were flying and we were trying to take them out only meleeing. Weirdly enough though, it actually ended up probably being one of the easiest sections. Most of them just died to the Marines other than the few that I picked off here and there, and then for some reason, a ton of them just sat up against the wall and stopped shooting. I don't know if that was a bug or if it was intended, but all that combined made this area way easier than I anticipated. We then continued on where we needed to head to the barracks to rescue some Marines, and this is where we encountered what I would consider the first roadblock. There was a group of brutes with a brute chieftain, and this was way more difficult than it should be. Eventually, after some trial and error, I was able to bob and weave and slowly take out the brutes, just leaving the brute chieftain, which I won't lie was pretty damn stressful trying to dodge the hammer swings. I was totally freaking out when he went invincible and swung at me. After his invincibility went away though, I was able to push in and beat him down, and on we went. Next we met up with the best character in Halo, the Arbiter, and then headed into the barracks. This section did lead to some deaths, however most of those were just me being greedy. In the barracks you could jump up into a vent structure above, which actually made it really easy as you could drop out and get free hits on brutes that were sitting below and weren't ready for you to come behind them. Basically for the rest of this area, you just did that rinse and repeat, slowly picking off the brutes as needed, and then we headed to the landing pad for evac, or what was supposed to be evac, and nothing much of note happened there. You do encounter some of the jetpack brutes here, but surprisingly enough, they also didn't cause any issues, and the Arbiter was always there to help you out if you needed it. In this section, I did find another AI that was completely bugged out, I think. One of the jetpack brutes just stood on a building and wasn't aggressive at all, which was kind of interesting, but unfortunately for him, I did decide to murder him and move on. Once the evac ship comes though, you learn that you actually have to go back and arm the bomb, so back in we go. This is where we hit honestly the hardest part of the level, which is funny because normal play, I actually don't think that this area causes very much issues. In the longer corridors, there's a collection of grunts and jackals with 2 sets of turrets, and oh my god, was this difficult. I tried using the pipe above to drop below the first set of turrets and take them out, but then you end up just getting sandwiched between the first set of enemies and the second set of enemies and get absolutely melted, which meant this wasn't a very good strategy. From there, I tried to just slowly push forward and take out the enemies as I could, and this just led to tons and tons of deaths until I found a slight strategy. Here I picked off the first set of enemies. However, running from where those first turrets are to the second set of enemies is nearly impossible, as the turrets and jackals will melt you as you try to push into them. So for a while I tried punching a crate for cover, but eventually it broke, and even though you can still try and use it as cover, I ended up dying. So I had to reapproach this scenario where I found out that if you cleared the first set of enemies and then slowly baited the AI, the grunts would actually push up and man the first set of turrets again. From there you could back up, get on the pipe and drop below them again, and slowly take out those grunts one by one. I did this over and over to thin out the herd, however I still needed to push up to the next set of turrets, and this is where I found a hilarious strat. I pushed on one of those open box things that I think holds weapons or might just be there for decoration, I don't know, but I pushed it far enough up that I could sprint to the side and jump through a slit in the wall, which allowed me to flank the turrets. From there, it was just a matter of bobbing and weaving and taking out the rest of the enemies, and I will say that the checkpoint coming through was the most relieved I had been all night during this challenge. Can I just leave? Please don't snipe me! We did it. We fucking did it. After that, it was basically it. You just need to clear out the op center, which wasn't too bad, and then you arm the bomb, and then you just hightail it out of there, and that completes the Crow's Nest Black Eye Challenge on Heroic. This challenge, while frustrating at parts, especially the section where those two sets of turrets, actually ended up being a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed doing it. I hope you guys enjoyed my recap of the experience of me doing this challenge. So if you did, let me know, and let me know if you want to see me tackle other challenges like this one, and if you have any in mind. Like I said at the start, if you want to see the complete run, I will put a link to that in the pinned comment, and that run is a little bit over an hour. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video, you know what to do. As always, if you want to catch me play things live, you can follow me over on Twitch, or if you want to read my random thoughts, you can follow me over on Twitter. And I'll see you all next time. Should I just YOLO him? Just try and like stun lock him? Ah! Ah! Oh god, it didn't work! Oh, what the fuck? Oh god, he's angry. Oh! Oh! We did it! Hell yeah. Oh shit. And you gifted a sub. Thank you, Kool-Aid. Don't mind me, mister. I'm just here to... What the fuck? Hello? Oh, we're friends now. Okay, do I go for it? If I miss that crouch jump, though, I lose. I don't know if it's worth the risk. Oh, fuck.
I'll kill you.
Oh!